Come, O Christ, reside in me. Amen is right. That was a nice little production y'all did. That was fun. Let's return to that just a bit, if you would. It isn't like this was sprung by God, just like that. It seemed like we had a little bit of time to think this thing through. But do you think that now, if you were going to make an announcement about the Christ coming and truth being born into the world and enfleshed and God is with us as Emmanuel, how would you get it done? Facebook. Email. Put out a blog, right? We're going to get a newspaper. We're going to write this stuff down. Or we're going to get it. I guess that's so old school, newspaper. I mean, blog and internet. Pardon? Oh. I mean, it's a great medium. And I really love the way it's done here. And it needs to continue. Size 10, right there. Okay. All right. I did mean that in the best possible way. But you would get a newspaper, and certainly you'd use the Macon County News to do that. You would, and the press. You would get the word out there, right? Why is it that you would, and in Jesus' time, what messengers would you use? Soldiers. Those are the guys that take the messages and they run them all over the kingdom and all over those roads, right, Jay? They would take this message. Well, number one, it'd be in Rome, because it's the center of all the universe, right? They would take it to Rome, and the soldiers would take these things and they'd run them out all over the place. And who did Jesus use? Some woolly wild man from the woods. The guy that eats locusts and wild honey, lives with the trees, you know? He chose this John guy to be the one to spread the word. You would think that they would have used priests and prophets and all the structures of religion that they had. Who was the one in the story that has any religious authority and calling? Zechariah. And what happened to him and his voice? Zechariah is the one who was going to go into the temple and do the sacrifice. He's Elizabeth's husband, right? He was the one with the religious credentials, with the little numbers or letters after his name. He's the one that had that, and he's the one whose voice went. Okay, so let's see. So the messengers, they use this John guy instead of the soldiers. Oh, wouldn't you choose someplace like with polished marble and cedar and all of that? Wouldn't that be a better place for this king to be born? Man, it seems to me like they blew it, doesn't it? It's a story that's written by, written by God and not Disney. It's a story that is our story when we understand the truth of it. I want to say that again. This is our story when we understand how it impacts us. This is our story when we invite the Christ to reside in us and be part of us. The stuff has to go away. There has to be a death. There has to be a rebirth. There has to be something that takes away all of the stuff. We are in the age of stuff. Right? We went from the age of reason and intellect to the age of stuff. And we have more stuff. We have stuff to keep stuff in. I have 2 cars, and I have stuff in all the cars. I can't drive anywhere without stuff. I have a garage that I can't put my cars in because I have stuff. There's just stuff everywhere. There's stuff there's just stuff that we buy, plastic stuff that ends up where? In the ocean, most places, choking the little fishies. But the stuff, we are in an age. We went from a rational age to an age of stuff. But I think, let me back up. I get ahead of myself just a little bit. Don't you think that if God was going to make this thing happen, that he'd choose somebody a little older than a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, and they would have chosen somebody respectable like married, for crying out loud? Right? Why go through this? Well, because Isaiah says, born of a virgin. Okay, that's fulfill righteousness. That's the way it works. when we seem to think that we got it figured out, or we know what's best, or where God should reside, or how God should do things, there are the Nathan voices that, well, first they might agree, like Nathan did. Go ahead, you're king, do whatever you want to. And then, after the prophets get the word of God in them, and they are the mouthpieces, and they say the truth, say, no, you got this wrong. David got in trouble for having a census, didn't he? David wanted a census so we know how rich he was, and if he wanted to go to war. David does this census, and God and Joab and other relatives said, you've done this thing wrong. You don't rely on your own strength, you rely on God. How do we get Joseph and Mary from Nazareth to Bethlehem? A census. Very strange, isn't it? Here's a census that David did. He got chewed out by God for that. And here, the emperor calls for a census. Doc, that census, if I had to take that census, I'd have to go to California or Ireland to register. You think government regulations are funny now? That's what they were asking them to do, right? Go to your home area and register. Register to vote, to buy a car, camel, whatever it is you're going to do. You got to do it there. That's just very strange. But in the midst of the strangeness of all of that and the weird regulations, God's will is done. And Joseph. You thought about Joseph's point of view in any of this? What do you think he's thinking? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we've heard about this stuff going on. I'm out of here. And that's what he seeks to do. I'm out of here. Folks, this is, and why a baby, for crying out loud? If you're going to have the son, why not full grown? Mark has him showing up full grown. John has him full grown. Why does Matthew and Luke start with Jesus as a baby? Babies are messy. They make a lot of noise. They require a lot of attention. They're cute for a while. Right? Why choose a baby, for crying out loud? You never thought about this, I guess. Why would you? What? What are you laughing at?
You. Very theatrical.
That's the drama of it all. And we take the drama and we make that kind of the truth. But the truth is that the lives were disorganized. Did they have the baby at home? No. They were on the road somewhere. Did they have the baby amongst their family members? Maybe, because their other family members had to go there to register. Did they have the midwives with them? You know, all that stuff that they do to have a baby, and the ones running around getting all that stuff done. No, they didn't. They didn't have any of that stuff. Right? It was a nice, sterile environment. It was a cave. Donkey stuff. This was, we get this idea in our head that it's all cleaned up. It's all scrubbed clean. And that's the way God comes to us, when we're all scrubbed clean and respectable. That was not how it happened, folks. And I don't think that's how it happens now. If you're going to invite the Christ to come and reside within you, it's within all of us. It's within everything that we are. We're not cleaned up. We're who we are. And God chose a baby, something that takes a person, that takes a lot of effort. And do we raise children well amidst all the stuff now? It's like, yeah, we're going to shove them off at daycare. Because we have to work, because we want more stuff. So we do all these things. What we'd like to do is to be able to raise the child up and read the scriptures to him and do all those things, but we just can't do it because of all the stuff. And if there's anything about this time of year, it's shed the stuff. Those thoughts about what religion is, those thoughts about who God is and how God operates in the world. Who's worthy to carry the Christ child? You are. You are. You are ordinary people, hard-working people. You and I, we're just ordinary, mean, kind of honored people. But that's all he's got. Right? The rich and the powerful have got other things on their mind. They see the world differently. They have other priorities. Those who are well have no need of the doctor.
The great physician.
The great physician. Those who are rich don't know their need for poverty. Those that are poor know their need for fellowship and relationships. Shed the stuff of the rational thought that we put ourselves through this time of year. And we try to displace and we try to think this thing through, and that's not what we believe. Joseph and Mary, if they'd have thought it through, what would they have done? Stayed home, turn on the TV, whatever it is, watch the goats. Somebody else. Well, it's not somebody else. It is you, it is me, it is I. We are the ones entrusted by God today. It's not just a cute story, even though it is a great story. It is our story. It is a story that is messy, that is not organized, that doesn't seem to make sense, but it is a story of relationships, it's a story of love, and it's a story of trust, where you are being entrusted with the God child to raise up. You, not somebody else. You and me. Yeah, is it dramatic? Yeah. Who are we to decide what is possible or not? Who are we to decide that something God can conceive and we can't conceive, that that's more real? Who are we to decide where God needs to reside, or how God needs to look, or how we need to look to each other, or who needs to do the speaking? This time, as we celebrate, we even could turn on the TV and Linus could tell us the story, for crying out loud. And that's all fine. But the truth is that we raised the Christ child up on the ground in the midst of everyday life, you and me, ordinary folks, trying to make our way in this world. But we do so in faith, believing that we will be born again with new eyes, new ears to hear, new heart to feel what God is about in this world. Shed the stuff. Let what it is that keeps you from picking up your cross and denying yourself, free that up. Give that over. Give that to a God that loves you and wants to take that on. And a Christ that so much wants to be with God, present in your